Hi everyone, today I am actually going to be dividing this Calathea. It has been in this pot for almost a year now and it's actually done pretty good, or pretty well overall. But I think I see a few plants in there that I could probably get away with splitting. It always makes me a little nervous when I do this because I don't want to, I've lost one Calathea before when I divided it, but I think that the plant was already going downhill. It's not a good idea to do it if the plant is having troubles, and I also try not to do it if I see a little growth coming up, a new leaf coming up. I try not to do it. I don't see any on here, so I think we're okay to go ahead and do it. So you don't want to do this when your plant is in distress. You'll probably end up losing your plant if you do that. This one's been pretty healthy overall. It did have some old, looks like slow release fertilizer in there from when I bought it. What you'll see me doing sometimes throughout this video is that I'll start to kind of almost like pull apart the section because I want to see how much give there is before trying to really divide it. Calathea, they are known to be pickier plants. They love their humidity and they will act like so much drama if they do not have their humidity. And they like to be on the moist side with watering. And they kind of like lower lights, so nothing direct. And I find this one to be a little bit easier than most Calathea. Its leaves have just been absolutely stunning since I've had it, and I really haven't had to give it a whole lot of care in relation to the other Calatheas that I have that take a lot more care. The biggest thing is the humidity and just keeping it overall moist. An important thing that I want to do here is I'm getting closer to the root ball. I definitely want to start kind of pulling. The biggest thing about this, though, when you're dividing your Calathea, when you're kind of pulling apart, you do not want to yank. And if you hear anything break, sometimes it can be really bad for your plant. So you kind of want to gently pull. And it's almost like you have to have patience with this plant because when you're trying, those roots are so intertwined. And so you kind of want to look at where your plants are, and you just have to remember that those roots are intertwined and that you're not trying to yank it apart, so don't do it really hard. It might take a few times of trying to do it in different parts of the plant. As you can see, I'm doing here, I'm kind of turning it different ways and wiggling it a little bit, and as I'm constantly turning it, I'm also wiggling it. And so it's almost kind of like, it's better if you have your hands or your fingers closer to the point where you're trying to divide versus further away. I find you'll have more issues. You can see here that I successfully was able to break apart the two. So just make sure you put your fingers really close to the section that you want to break apart. And now the next thing that I'm going to do is I have some Happy Frog organic soil that I use, and I put some worm casting in it. I picked a pot that's not going to be not a very big pot, almost about the size that it was in previously. I have heard before that these plants actually like to be in kind of in a tighter quarters when it comes to their pot, and mine seem to do really well. So I'm going to stick with that. It's almost going to be given it double living room space as to what it had before. I could continue to divide and maybe get another plant out of these two, but I really don't want to do that because I feel like I got lucky on this plant that I didn't cause any issues with the roots, so I'm going to leave that alone. And even though I probably could get another plant out of these two, I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to just be happy with what I got. Stop while I'm ahead, all right? Make sure that you do this in early spring before you start seeing new growths, as mentioned earlier. And you also, as I mentioned earlier, you don't want to be doing this when your plant is in distress. But of course, sometimes you may look at it like, well, it's already going to go downhill anyways, might as well try something, right? So sometimes I'll look at my plants like that. And sometimes I find that those differences that I do and actually make a big difference and actually save the plant in the long run. So this is what they look like hours after I split them, and they're doing absolutely wonderful. They look so much better than when they were all together in one pot. They just look a lot happier. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe for more plant care tips and hacks. Until next time.